Good morning. I'd like to bring the March 16th, 2022 Planning Advisory Commission meeting to order. The official start of this meeting is 9 a.m. If you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you could please silence or turn off your cell phones. Thank you. I remind those in the audience and those watching on TV that this is the first hearing of any rezoning, text change, or special exception request brought before us today. We will first hear a reading of the staff report for the case by planning staff and ask the applicant to provide a brief overview of the request. We will then give the opportunity for anyone in the audience to speak for or against that request or to inquire about said request. The commissioners will have any needed discussion on the case. Once a motion is made and seconded by the commission, a vote will take place and a recommendation will be rendered. The case will go back to the planning department for their independent recommendation. If a favorable recommendation is given, then the case is forwarded to the city council with 2 independent recommendations. If the planning department makes a recommendation for denial, the applicant will have 10 days from the receipt of the letter stating the denial to notify the clerk of council that they are requesting to be placed on the city council's agenda. The city council of Columbus will hold a public meeting called the first reading. Said council shall consider the case, review the Planning Advisory Commission and Planning Department recommendations, and hear discussions on the matter. Council will make a final decision at a second public meeting called the second reading. Our first agenda today is to approve the minutes of our previous meeting. Does anyone have any comments or correction regarding the minutes? Do we have a motion to approve them? Thank you. Okay. For those approved, please raise your right hand. All right. Thank you. That brings us to our first case of the day, which is right here. It's REZN-02-22-0236, a request to rezone 7.01 acres of land located at 4322 Rosemont Drive. The current zoning is single-family residential 3. Proposed zoning is single-family residential 4. The proposed use is single-family house. Wright Wade is the applicant. The property is located in Council District 8, Garrett. Could we please hear from the staff?
Yes, sir. The general land use is consistent for Plan Area D. The current land use designation is public institutional. The future land use is single-family residential. It is compatible with existing land uses. The property does not lie within the floodway and floodplain area. The developer will need an approved drainage plan prior to issuance of a site development permit if a permit is required. Property is served by all city services. Average annual daily trips will decrease from 297 from 390 trips if used for residential use. The level of service will remain at a level B. This site shall meet the codes and regulations for CCG for residential usage. There'll be no school impact, no buffer requirements, no Fort Benning recommendation, no DRI recommendation. The surrounding zoning to the north is in GC and NC. To the south is SFR3. To the east is SFR3. To the west is RMF2. 75 property owners within 300 feet of the subject property were notified of the rezoning request. The planning department received 3 phone calls regarding the rezoning, and then there's no additional information.
Thank you. Are there any questions from commissioners with regard to the staff report? Okay. Will the applicant please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and give us an overview of your request, please?
Good morning.
Okay.
My name is Wright Wade. I live at 1401 Dinglewood Drive, and Bill Brackbill is my partner on this project. And Bill, if you would address.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
All right. When Wright brought this property to me a year ago, we missed out on the contract. Somebody else who previously came before the board was able to secure the property and contract and purchase it before we did, and they We're only interested in doing apartments. When I looked at it a year ago, I was very excited about it because of the potential to use the existing streets and because we're single-family builders, we look at everything from the single-family perspective. Had just redeveloped some infill property on Hillside and Cherokee. So there was 5 older rental properties over there that I've now developed into $400,000 houses. And it's spurred a redevelopment around there of the older 50 and 60-year-old homes that were rental. People came in and they bought them. They've been renovating them, making them owner occupied. So by putting new construction in an older area, it helps reinvigorate neighborhoods. You get people that own rental property will tend to say, hey, I can fix this up and now sell it, or you'll get more owner occupants in there. I've talked to the apartment guy that owns the multifamily across the street. He's got some drainage concerns, which you've heard about before, but he was wanting to try to tie upgrading his property and being able to get higher rent for his and being able to upgrade his rentals and redo the facades to tie into our theme. So he was kind of waiting to see what we were doing. So when I saw the property, even though we could probably get 38 lots with the current zoning, by putting a cul-de-sac up in there, we can get 31 lots with the rezoning facing all the houses to Acacia and Rosemont, use the existing bus road as a private alley for rear entry, potentially rear entry if we were able to engineer it that way. And then the idea was to put a gate on the private alley and make it a secure area, and wouldn't want to make this a zoning condition, but because of the density and what we're trying to achieve there, have a common association that mows the lawns, manages the security, and just with it being walking distance to the hospital, kind of a workforce type housing price where people can walk home, let their cat, dog out for lunch, or, you know, more of a general upgrade to the area. So that's our plan.
Is there any questions from commissioners?
If I understand this correctly, your layout, from a cul-de-sac point of view, some of those areas won't have access to the cul-de-sac. They will have access only from the roads.
Right, we'll have, that plan shows the existing asphalt driveway that's there from the old school, which is in great condition. We'll just have to resurface it, but because it won't be owned by the city, it's not going to be subject, it'll be privately maintained since all the houses have frontage on a public street. We'll probably have to do a little concrete loop around the back. And then in the inner area, that will create kind of like a little green space park area, benches, dog walk, whatever. Yeah, because you're right. Some of those driveways would be really long. You know, haven't got into it with garbage disposal. We don't want to have 31 trash cans out around the perimeter, to maybe come up with some way that if we've got adequate access for the trash trucks to come in and have the gate open during the day on trash days, that they could come in and be able to service that, and instead of having 31 trash cans up and down Acacia and Rosemont. And it'd be kind of hard for people to get them out there, to roll them out the private drive and around to the front of their house. So we'll explore that option with the Solid Waste Management Department. We thought about dumpster too, but that's not usually as preferable for single family.
Yes, Ms. Thomas.
How are you doing, sir? Is this going to be a gated area that you're talking about? I hear you say a gate on the back, but it's going to be a gated neighborhood?
Well, right now there's an existing road that was an access point for the school on Acacia. And so we're going to utilize that road as a private alley access to the rear of the houses. And because it's private, and to maintain and enhance the value of the area for security, we're looking at putting a gate, yes.
It will be gated. Okay, thank you.
We're not sure if we want that to be a condition of zoning, because if the homeowners association later decides they don't want to have a gate, they might want to just leave it open all the time. But we intend to, for security purposes, especially at the beginning of construction. I was over there several times, and I've seen police all up and down that area doing investigations over there. Not in the apartments, but there was up in the commercial area to the right of the apartment. So I think a gate is almost a necessity.
So you're saying it's a possibility that it may be a gated area? Maybe?
Yes, right.
Okay, thank you.
I have, so it will be a mandatory HOA then, like a PUD?
Yeah, it'll be a mandatory HOA because with that density of living, if you don't have a homeowners association management, pretty soon there's people parking all kind of cars, and we want to have cars parked in the garages where people aren't filling their garages with home improvement projects and parking all their cars outside. And, something that, we feel like we can get a higher price with better restrictions, and people will want to live there.
Okay, I have a question for John. When a neighborhood is gated, is the city responsible for road maintenance, or is it the HOA?
They are not. The HOA would be responsible for it.
Okay, I didn't know, I'm sure you were aware of that, but
Right.
I have lived in a gated community, and I
Yeah.
know that's a big expense down the road.
Yeah, well, that road is probably, 50 years old? And it's in really good shape. Whenever they built it to educational, whatever the DOT standards were, and there's very few spidering in it, and just, I think, a seal coat and another inch of asphalt on top, and the homeowners association will be good for another 30 years.
Mr. King?
I was looking at your preliminary site plan, I guess, that you sent through to planning, and I noticed you have 5 flag lots on this thing, and that kind of concerns me. Are these driveways going to be wide enough to get a fire truck, ambulance, et cetera, down through it? They're pretty long.
Well, we'll have to have, when this goes through the engineering process, the fire department has input on that, and they will make sure. So the access will be through the rear point. So there's not actually going to be driveways up those flags. The driveways will come into the rear of those houses, off of the alley.
So this is just a preliminary plan, is what you're
Right.
saying?
Yeah, so, once we go through the engineering and everybody gets their input, that will change a little bit before it goes to commission for final plating, but, there's a potential we may lose a lot, and we're not sure.
Yes,
Well-
Ms. Weekly?
What would be the square footage and the approximate cost?
Prices of the houses?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're in an amazing time right now, of both a shortage of lots, which is driving lot costs up, and cost of building materials, even from December, is double. Now, hopefully, it goes up and down, and we'll get another down cycle, but it seems like each time it goes down, it goes up further. Right now, I did 14 houses, and he's got the last 2 now in Anglin Park, Graham Way, off Anglin Road, and we started out at 240, and what's your last price is 310?
310.
I don't see how realistically, with today's prices, we'll be a dime under 300, and probably 350 to 400 once people realize, if gas prices stay high, Harris, maybe property taxes are less in Harris County, but there's nothing available out there in this price point and the price of gas to drive out there. So I see this as being I do a lot of this in Atlanta too. They call me infill Bill. So I never have enough money to go do 500 lots or 100 lots, but I like these little projects where I can, kind of do more of a custom type project, higher end, and I just think that we might even see higher than 400. There might be somebody that comes in and says, I want to be here, I'm an I don't know that this will happen. I'm an anesthesiologist, and I got to be on call, and when I'm on call, I want to be able to sit here in my house, and when they call me, I can run over to the hospital, but when I'm not on call, I want to be up at the lake. So being right there next to the hospital, and then with Emory taking over the hospital, I think they've got some plans to do some redevelopment out of the area. So I see the whole area there as it's a good area already, location-wise and everything, and I just see this as a potential to help spur better.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir. One more. On your house construction, will you be a double-car garage, or will it just depend on the configuration of the house?
Yeah, it doesn't cost that much more to do a double-car garage, and I think most people have 2 cars, and our desire is going to be for people to park their cars in the garage. So if it's a single person living there and they want to have storage and a car, so yeah, there will be 2 cars.
What would you say the average, I think she asked the question, but I never heard it, the average square footage?
Probably minimum of 1,800,
Okay.
and prices are pushing $180, $200 a foot now, and so that's going to put it over 300. If it's 1,800, there'll be ranches with masters on the main, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Somebody wants 2,500 square foot and 500,000. Well,
2-story. Right.
well,
I got you.
yeah, bonus room over the garage or something, but we'll start over on Acacia and kind of work our way around and engage the demand. If people want bigger houses, we'll build bigger houses. If not, we'll just stay at the beginning point. But we anticipate that there'll be with interest rates going up, it actually pushes people into the lower price range for affordability. And so I think we're all watch the news and see that rates are over 4% now, which seems extremely low historically, but for people that like 3%, 4% is high.
Is there any more questions? All right. Is there anyone in the audience that's in favor of this request?
Do we need to step down?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ma'am, you need to come up to the microphone, state your name and address.
My name is Pat Stumhofer, 4103 Acacia Drive. Will the houses will they face Acacia, the ones that you build, and will they have driveways onto Acacia?
The only way we'll have a driveway on Acacia is if the engineering department says, by design, that's what we've got to do. There wouldn't be any economic benefit to putting a gate in if the driveways came out on Acacia.
That's what I was
Right, yeah.
thinking, but
So,
originally I
From
thought,
security standpoints, one of the options we looked at, if for whatever reason the rezoning got turned down, is that we would probably try to just plat 10 lots on Acacia with front entry using the current zoning, and then see how that went. But
see, that's what I thought was
Right.
going to happen.
yeah, I mean, if we
Because
weren't trying to.
we're going to be looking, if we walk past those apartments,
Right.
we're going to be looking at the
Ma'am.
backs of
No,
those.
you'll be looking at.
Could you please address the commission?
Right.
Thank you.
So you'll be looking at the front of the houses. The garages will be on the rear, so there'll be front porches on the houses facing Acacia. But they'll access the house from the back. There'll be a fence around the perimeter of the property.
In front of their house, there'll be a fence.
I think the code is, what, a 4-foot fence in the front yards? And so there could be a gate on it with a sidewalk coming down to Acacia where they could walk out their front door and access, because we're probably going to have to put a sidewalk all the way around.
Excuse me,
the
you have to be
perimeter.
at the microphone when you're talking.
So we'll probably have to, I know we're going to have to put a sidewalk all the way around the perimeter. So from the front of the houses, we could have a sidewalk from the front porch going down to the sidewalk and then a gate on each house. But they wouldn't access it from the garage, and you wouldn't be looking at the back of their house.
Okay.
You'd be looking at their front porch.
I'm going to try to answer her question. was, are there gonna be any driveways coming off of Acacia? Yes, ma'am, there could possibly be some. We don't want to commit to it now. We don't know whether we're getting the rezoning or not, but if we don't get the rezoning, we'll just have to change our plans. But there could possibly be driveways coming off Acacia going into a double garage.
All right. Is there anybody out in the audience that would like to speak against this? Okay. All right, ma'am, could you state your name again and your address?
I will. My name is Pat Stumhofer. I live at 4103 Acacia and have lived there since 1987. I wish that you would just leave the original zoning, single-family residence 3, in place so that the new houses and lots will conform to the houses that are already there, thus keeping the character of the neighborhood. I know it is not a big neighborhood, but Acacia, Chevin, and Chalfont Drives have their own unique characteristics, which I think enhance the area and make Columbus a more beautiful place. Furthermore, I think if this was your neighborhood, you would like to keep it intact also.
Thank you. Is there anyone else out in the audience? Yes, ma'am. Please state your name and address for the record.
Rosalinda King, 2647 Chevin Lane. I'm just requesting that, if they build houses there, it's going to cause more traffic, that we put in speed bumps in Chevin and on Acacia.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, any other discussion among the commissioners?
I just wanted to add that just in my work as a realtor, I've sold several of Mr. Brackbill's houses and have found them to be really nice quality. He's built in several areas around Columbus, along with a lot of what seems like a lot of areas all over the state. They're nice homes. This is not, I think we all know some builders in town who we would not want this to be someplace that they were building. But I feel like these are really well-built homes.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. All right, would a commissioner like to make a motion? Yes, Mr. Baker.
When it comes to REZN 02-22-0236, a request to rezone 7.01 acres of land located at 4322 Rosemont Drive. Current zoning is SFR 3, single-family residential. Proposed zoning is SFR 4, single-family residential 4. I propose that we accept the rezoning because it is consistent with existing land use.
Got a second? All right, thank you. All right, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, it's unanimous, it's approved. Thank you. That takes us to our second case, which is REZN 02-22-0337, a request to rezone 2.06 acres of land located at 5710 Warm Springs Road. Current zoning is neighborhood commercial. Proposed zoning is general commercial. Proposed use is a convenience store with gas. Mike Powell is the applicant. The property is located in Council District 6, Allen. We could please hear from staff.
Yes, sir. The general land use is inconsistent for planning area B. The current land use designation is vacant, undeveloped. Future land use is single-family residential. It is compatible with existing land uses. The property does not lie within the floodway and floodplain area. The developer will need an approved drainage plan prior to issuance of a site development permit if a permit is required. Property is served by all city services. Average annual daily trips will increase to 587 trips from 239 trips if used for commercial usage. The level of service will remain at a level D. This site shall meet the codes and regulations of CCG for commercial usage. There'll be no school impact, no buffer requirements, no Fort Benning recommendation, no DRI recommendation. The surrounding zoning to the north is GC, to the south is NC, to the east is SFR3, to the west is GC. 25 property owners within 300 feet of the subject properties were notified of the rezoning request. The planning department received no calls and or emails regarding the rezoning, and there's no additional information.
Thank you. Is there any questions from commissioners with regard to the staff report? Okay. Would the applicant please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and give us a brief overview?
Yes, my name is Mike Powell. I'm agent for the proposed owner, and a representative is en route. So I don't know if it's out of order to ask if you want to move to the next case in the event you have questions that I cannot answer.
We'll just move forward for now.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna let him just come back when there's representatives here, or just move forward?
We'll just move forward. If there's not anything that he can't answer, then we'll
Okay.
We'll
All right,
go
so go
again.
ahead.
Okay, my client is proposing to develop that vacant lot for a convenience store. And we've made application, we followed the protocol that is established by the Columbus Consolidated Government through John Renfro's, his office. And we were notified that we had a meeting here today before this committee, and I'm here to answer any questions, grievances.
All right, do we have any questions from commissioners?
What would be the hours?
I don't have the exact hours. I would say that, I mean, normally a convenience store is 9 a.m. to 12 midnight, but I mean, but again, I don't have the exact hours, and a representative is en route.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is there gonna be diesel at this location?
Not that I'm aware of, but I'm not sure.
Will alcohol be sold?
Typically, convenience stores they do sell beer and wine, but certainly not hard spirits.
Any more questions?
So will this be a single convenience store with gas, or is it going to be a convenience store with additional or additional units for lease, or?
It's my understanding it'll be a single.
Is this your gentleman?
George? George? Come on up. It's my understanding that it will be a single use convenience store with gas pumps.
Okay.
Would it have any other games, the other convenience stores have slot machines into those things?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
George, could you state your name and address for the record, please?
Hi, my name is George Patel. I have some gas station too.
Okay. I think we had a question if you're gonna sell alcohol at this location.
I have a Summit gas station. Summit,
Yes.
that's what we do.
He's going to know beer.
You wanna know about beer? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
Well, and a question came up, what would your typical hours be of operation?
Like 6 to 10.
6 to 10.
All right, any other questions?
It just seems odd, you're putting a gas station, convenience store next to another one, but I guess competition's always a good thing, huh?
Typically benefits the consumers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Healthy that competition.
Thank you. Any other questions from anyone? Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to speak in favor of this request? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak against this request? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
I live at 6547 Georgian Way. Harris Place. This proposal will be within 50 feet, as the map indicates, of my property. Just imagine, you're in your backyard, barbecue. Myself, I like to smoke sometimes. The gas station's being filled with gas. The tanks are being filled with gas. My neighbors and I having to deal with this situation within 50 feet of our property. Now here's an investor. There's a gas station within 100 feet of his proposed site. You got two gas stations within 500 feet of Harris's place. to a gas station. Now, the cars is being filled up all the time, from the time it's open to the time it's closed. In my backyard, I'm a veteran. I like to relax sometimes. Sometimes I get stressed. Well, just think. You in your backyard smoking a cigar or barbecuing, and here you are smelling gas or diesel. Now, we have one gas station there. Now, why an investor want to come up in there and add another one? It's not fair to the homeowners association to add and get a gas station within 50 feet of your home. Looking at the map indicates that the zoning would encompass my property. You put yourself in our position. We do not want another gas station in our backyard, within 50 feet of your backyard. It's not fair to the homeowners. It's not fair to our investment. We oppose this.
Mr. Renfro.
Yes, Ms. Thomas. Yes, sir. We got a question for you.
Good morning, sir. Are there other neighbors who have signed something with you concerning this matter about the second gas station being so close to your home?
You mean
You know,
a
you was-
protest?
Yeah, you know, you were saying there were some more homeowners that
a
felt the
petition?
same
If
way.
we have to go that route, sure. Even the gas station that is going to be adjacent to this property, he is opposed to it. Now, we can go through the petition route if that's necessary, sure.
I mean, I was just concerned.
Yes, I understand. I
Right, when you
understand.
said there was other homeowners felt the same way.
The
Yeah, I understand.
HOA is opposed to this situation.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. We have one gas station there, within 500 feet of our property line. Now you're gonna put another one next to it and our property line. That is not fair to the homeowners in there. So we are opposed to this proposal. So we would appreciate it if you put yourself in our position. You smell diesel fuel and gas through the whole period that this place is open. And even at night sometime, they might come through there and fill the tanks up. You got to deal with this situation. And you don't know what might happen. You might have an overfill. It is a hazard that we do not want to have to deal with. It's a hazard. You got two 20,000 tanks out there being filled up or filled with gas, and you got to think about, are they going to explode? Or what's going to happen? We don't need this. And we would like for you to think about it. So I appreciate your time, but you sit yourself where we'll sit, where we will be. In your backyard, on a nice Saturday afternoon, barbecuing or smoking a cigar, and here's somebody filling up a 20,000-gallon gas tank and you smelling gas or diesel. We don't need that. But I thank you very much.
I have a
I
question.
think we got another question for you.
Yes, sir. Do you have a mandatory HOA in your neighborhood?
Sure we do.
And are you one of the officers?
Yes,
or-
I'm on the board.
You're on the board? Okay. And so your neighborhood has opposed this? You've talked about it at meetings?
Ma'am, we are opposed to this situation, and if it's take a petition, a signed petition from all 280 homeowners, we can do that.
Okay, thank you.
But I'm just speaking on behalf of the HOA. My neighbor, who is a veteran who have PSDT, myself, I had a little bit of it, but we don't need this situation in our backyard.
All right. Yes, Roe.
Let me see, if I'm correct over here on the last page of your staff report here, the gas station is already there, right? The Marathon is already there. Now, on the drawing that you have parking lot is a retail store and a restaurant. So there's not gonna be an adding of a gas station there per se.
That is my main purpose, to put the gas, not
Sir, could you come to the microphone?
My main purpose to do is more the restaurant, food stuff more. Gas I'm putting because of the next door, but somebody come to take the gas altogether. That's why I'm doing these things. I'm not main purpose is of more gas station, but I'm more going to be put more the restaurant food business there. I'm trying to put more food there.
Yeah, so there's no other gas station coming
gas
right
station, I
next to
just
the gas
put like
station.
2 or 3
Which
or
is
4,
why
yes.
Mr. First one, I'm
Powell.
sorry.
Powell.
That's the way you explained it first. That's why the confusion, and maybe that's what the
Yes.
families are so concerned with another gas station right next to another gas station, which is not the case. We're talking about a retail store and a restaurant. That's what I understand from the drawing.
Restaurant within the gas station.
Yes.
Yes,
Most gas
so
stations, you
the gas
have
station's already there.
Correct.
So it happened, I mean, for the community there, how long the marathon's been there?
I'm not exactly sure how long. the
For a
marathon's
while,
been there.
then.
But
So-
as population density increases, you know, I don't know if you've noticed here of late, you stand in line forever to get gas. If you got one area, that's a pretty densely populated area.
So we're talking about adding pumps then to the gas station?
Not to that same gas station. This is a different tract beside it. It's 2.2 acres. So we're not talking about something on top of each other and right next to somebody's property. This is a lot that's 2.02 acres.
Yes, Mr. Dudley.
I have a question for Mr. Renfro. I didn't notice anything in the staff report about buffer requirements. What are the buffer requirements for this?
The buffer requirements along the SFR, I believe, 3 or 4, that's the neighborhood, that would be just the typical category C, 30 feet undisturbed or 10 feet with a fence or landscape buffer.
Thank you.
Any more questions for either one of these gentlemen?
I have one for Mr. Renfro.
Yes, sir.
Being that the gas station is 50 feet within the houses, is there a staff report on the inhalation of gas or fumes in the reports?
Yeah, that's all handled by engineering. Engineering had no comment on this, so I can't comment on it either.
Yeah, and we're talking about 2.20 acres. I don't know how we get 50 feet.
All right, any more questions? All right. Yeah, do we have a motion?
Commissioner, may I add?
Yes, yes, please come to the microphone.
Clarity, please, clarity. The proposal say a convenience store and gas station. That's what it says. Now, we have we have a gas station there already with about, 10 pumps. This gentleman said he's gonna come there, he's gonna further around it. He's throwing a restaurant in there. The proposal says a gas station, meaning he's gonna add pumps into that situation. We know that. We know that. As soon as this is approved, he's going to buy, I believe he's gonna go by what he asked you guys for. So our opposition to this is, no additional pumps in that area. Now, he can add a restaurant and that would be fine. We would love to have another restaurant there. Yes. But adding pumps, additional pumps into that situation would be a hazard. It would be a hazard. We have 10 pumps in there already. And that area is not that busy where you're gonna need additional gas pumps in there to service that neighborhood. It's gonna be competition there. Someone is gonna eventually go. The existing business there already, he has a clientele. And I don't think they're gonna go to another service station when he come in there. What's gonna happen eventually, when he lose business, it's gonna go out of business. We're gonna have a vacant building there. That's what we expecting to happen. We have enough gas being serviced in that area, but excuse me, I'm a little nervous, I'm a little frustrated to have an investor come up in there talking like he's gonna make money in that area, which I don't see that happening. Just respect our property. We have a nice neighborhood, it is growing, and we would like for it to continue to grow financially wise. It's safe, so let's help us to keep it that way. We have one service station there, which is fine. 10 pumps. This gentleman, he gonna come up and he gonna say, we just gonna put a restaurant in and we maybe add some gas stations in there, some pumps in there. But that's not true. It says what it says. A convenience store and gas station.
Thank you. Wait, hold on, sir, we got another question.
Well, it's almost a comment as much as a question.
Okay.
It seems like there's a disagreement between y'all about the impact of gas fumes, because the site plan here has restaurant with outdoor patio, and that's on the lot. And so it seems like that the applicants don't think that the gas fumes are going to be an issue. We don't really have the expertise. That's more an engineering issue. But I would point out that they're expecting to have an outdoor patio on the lot itself.
Okay, well, on a hot day, when you're pumping gas, when you're filling up 20,000 gallon gas tanks, I serve the fire department, and I know how fume rises when it get hot. And even when you're filling up your gas tank on your car, you are getting fumes when on a real hot day. They do rise. So let's not play around with this situation. He might add an outdoor patio, which is fine. He can do that without adding pumps. We got gas, we got pumps there. Got 10. We got 10. He can do better with the restaurant, just the restaurant by itself. And we will support him in that situation. But let's not add additional hazard in that area. That's all. And yes, when it get hot, sir, yes, it does. Yes, you can smell gas. So thank you very much for your time, and I just pray that you will think about the homeowners living in that area.
Yes, sir.
But that gas station is last 23 years next door. There were never any single incident happened there, you know, like whatever they say, hazard stuff. Even never any one single issue has come with any hazard, any problem with the next gas station, right? Mostly gas station have not much come. Look at in a whole Columbus, whole Muscogee County, we never have any single incident burn the gas station or pump or anything, like gentleman says like that. Is anything like a smell or anything, never happened in our history. Last 20-year history, look at this. Not even single incident in our Muscogee County, in any gas station happened like that.
And not to insult the intelligence of this committee. I mean, we did follow the protocol and posted the sign, the required signage. And I called Mr. Renfro's office on a couple of occasions. The hear of a single complaint is just now, because I've not heard of anything prior to that at all. No one opposed it.
All right. Is there anybody else in the audience like to speak against this? Okay, thank you. Would a commissioner like to make a motion? Yes, Rob.
When it comes to REZN 02-22-0337, request to rezone 2.06 acres of land located at 7110 One Spring Road. Current zoning neighborhood commercial, proposed zoning general commercial. I would like to add some notes or what we call them, conditions that the hours operation stay within 06 to 2300, as well as no more gas pumps be added to it. So the proposed for the convenience store and or restaurant on that property be approved at this time.
I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. Would your condition be that they could not include gas pumps?
That's correct. No more gas pumps, just restaurant, as I see it on the picture that they provided, with a retail store and a restaurant without additional pumps of gas.
Would it be appropriate to ask the applicant to comment on that?
Yes.
The concept plan includes 4 pumps, the convenience store, and the restaurant.
When I repeat my motion, Then I'm gonna have to retrieve the motion for not to be approved then.
Oh, we got a second? Okay.
A third.
All those in favor, raise your right hand for denial. Okay.
You have a motion to disapprove this based on,
Based on the gas pumps addition.
okay, is it compatibility?
That's why I try to put a condition not
Okay.
to add any pumps.
Okay, I got you. All right, I'm ready, I'm sorry. I'm confused. Are we saying not to add, not have pumps at all, or not to add to what's on the concept plan? That, I think the motion that's been stated is that this is to disapprove this case, and based on the fact that it's not compatible with land uses according to the way you have it drawn out, so. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, he withdrew the pump.
He
motion.
withdrew the, yeah. go ahead.
Yeah,
So
when-
anyway,
when-
we're just, hey, we're voting on the actual denial of the request, not any conditions, for the gas station, restaurant. So we got a motion. Yes, Ms. Thomas, we got a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 1, 2, 3. 5, all right. Those against? All right, 5 and 3, it passes. It's denied, sir.
Okay, so in my understanding, this goes now to Columbus Council?
That's correct.
That's
Okay,
correct.
thank you.
Thanks, sir.
All right, this brings us to our third case, which is REZN-02-22-0338, a request to rezone 2.15 acres of land located at 2016 Comer Avenue. Current zoning is neighborhood commercial. Proposed zoning is residential office. The proposed use is multifamily. Lucy Jones is the applicant. The property is located in Council District 7, Woodson. Yeah, would the applicant please come forward?
Staff
Oh,
report.
staff report. Apologize.
Sure. General land use is consistent for planning area D. The current land use designation is vacant, undeveloped. The future land use designation is office professional. It is compatible with existing land uses. The property does not lie within the floodway and floodplain area. The developer will need an approved drainage plan prior to issuance of a site development permit if a permit is required. Property is served by all city services. Average annual daily trips will decrease to 209 from 250 trips if used for residential use. The level of service will remain at a level C. Excuse me. This site shall meet the codes and regulations of CCG for residential usage. There'll be no school impact. The site shall include a Category C buffer along all property lines bordered by the RMF1 zoning district. The 3 options on a Category C are 20 feet with a certain amount of canopy trees, understory trees, shrubs, ornamental grasses per 100 linear feet, 10 feet with a certain amount of shrubs, ornamental grasses per 100 linear feet, and a wood fence or masonry wall, and 30 feet undisturbed natural buffer. There's no Fort Bend recommendation, no DRI recommendation. The surrounding zoning to the north is RMF1, NC, GC. To the south is RMF1. To the east is RMF1. To the west is RO. 30 property owners within 300 feet of the subject properties were notified of the rezoning request. The planning department received no calls and or emails regarding this rezoning, and there's no additional information.
Thank you. Are there any questions from commissioners concerning the staff report? All right, would the applicant please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and give us a brief overview of your request?
Good morning, I'm Lucy Jones with the Woodruff Property Management Company, 3580 Massey Lane, Suite 240, Columbus, Georgia. My client is planning to build a $14 million, 60-unit affordable senior housing complex that will be Class A with community gardens, outdoor porches, a leasing center, a fully equipped fitness center, a business center. It'll be a great upgrade for the area, and it will just be a very classy project. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Do we have any questions? All right.
So this will strictly be, restricted to 62 and over, I
Got to be
noticed in your
62
report.
and over, so I can't live there yet.
Nah, I can. But,
And I have worked with these clients for 20 years, being at the Woodruff Company. I've worked with them, they're a great operation.
do we have any similar units like this in Columbus? I mean, I love the fact that it's close to the hospital. It's,
That is why, Ralph, it's a great project. It's close to doctor's offices. It's right on the trail. It's right on the bus route that services many different, the transit has lots of different lines on it there, and close to lots of doctor's offices. So I worked on another project about a year or two ago at the Meritus Mill. I don't know if you've seen how that project has, it's a different developer, but it will be similar in quality to that great project right there in Bibb City.
thank you.
You described it as affordable housing. What would be the approximate either rent or?
One bedrooms will be $650 to $700 would be the market rent, and two bedroom would be $700 to $800 market rent. But we do have a sliding scale, so about 10% of them will be market rent. The others will be affordable. So 50% would be probably a one bedroom, about $470. 60% of the one bedrooms probably will run about $590. 50% of the two bedrooms, $560, and 60% of the two bedrooms will run around $705. So that's the rent schedule based on the current market conditions.
All right. Yes, Ms. Thomas.
Good morning. And you did say a garage would be attached to this? Did
So
you
these
say?
are multi-family units.
Uh-huh.
So they'll have plenty of parking for the number of residents that are there.
Okay, but there's no garage?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, yes, any more questions from commissioners? All right, is there anybody out in the audience who would like to speak in favor of this request? Okay, is anybody out in the audience who would like to speak against this request? All right, would a commissioner like to make a motion? Yes,
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, Mr. King.
Case REZN 02220338, request to rezone the 2.15 acres located at 2016 Comer Avenue. I'd like to make a motion, we approve this. It's very needed in this community, and it's compatible with the area.
Yes, we got a second? Yes, Ms. Thomas. All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand. All righty, it is passed.
Thank you very much.
You're
Y'all have a great day.
Thank you. All right, that puts us at our final case for the day. REZN 02-22-0339, a request to rezone .11 acres of land located at 1118 10th Avenue. Current zoning is light manufacturing industrial. Proposed zoning is general commercial. The proposed use is commercial retail. Deals and Steels Outlet Incorporated is the applicant. The property is located in the Council District 7, Woodson. Could we please hear from staff?
Yes, sir. The general land use is consistent for planning area D. The current land use designation is light manufacturing and industrial. Future land use is mixed use. It is compatible with existing land uses. The property does not lie within the floodway and floodplain area. The developer will need an approved drainage plan prior to issuance of a site development permit if a permit is required. Property is served by all city services. Average annual daily trips will increase to 132 trips, up from 6 trips if used for commercial usage. The level of service will remain at a level A. The site shall meet the codes and regulations of CCG for commercial usage. There'll be no school impact. The site shall include a Category C buffer along all property lines bordered by the LMI zoning district. The 3 options under Category C are 20 feet with a certain amount of canopy trees, understory trees, shrubs, ornamental grasses per 100 linear feet, 10 feet with a certain amount of shrubs, ornamental grasses per 100 linear feet, and a wood fence or masonry wall, 30 feet undisturbed natural buffer. There's no Fort Benning recommendation, no DRI recommendation. The surrounding zoning to the north is LMI, to the south is GC, to the east is RMF2, to the west is LMI. 15 property owners within 300 feet of the subject property were notified of the rezoning request. The planning department received no calls or emails regarding the rezoning, and there's no additional information.
Any questions from commissioners for the staff report? Okay, would the applicant please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and give us a brief overview of your request?
Yes, good morning. My name is Austin Gibson. I'm an attorney at Page Strand. I'm here in Columbus. My address is 1111 Bay Avenue, 3rd floor, Columbus, Georgia. And I am here today on behalf of Deals and Steels Outlets, who is the applicant, and they're also the owner of this property, but the intention is to lease this property to a tenant. and that tenant would operate a beauty salon, hair salon. And I do have the owner of Deals and Steals Outlets, Jeff Baker, here with me today, and then I also have the tenant as well for any questions you guys may have for them after our presentation. So today, the property that we're attempting to rezone, you can see it here on this slideshow, and I'll talk about it a little bit more in a few minutes. But what we're trying to do is the only part of this property that we're intending to rezone is the bottom left corner. There's a building right there that's in the bottom left corner, and the plan is to replat this property and have two separate plats after the rezoning is done. But my understanding from our engineers is that we've got to go through the rezoning process first. And as you'll see, this property it's currently zoned LMI. The whole property is, but it is directly next door to Joey's Thrift Mall, maybe to kind of orient you if you know where that is. That is the red GC there that's directly next to it. So it actually butts right up against that property. And, LMI is still pretty predominant, as you can see on this map, along 10th Avenue, just based on the historical and current presence of the railroad. It made sense, and maybe still does in some instances, to do some industrial manufacturing in that area to have kind of easy access to the railroads and transportation. But the future land use for this area is mixed use, and maybe that points towards, maybe no longer relying on the railroads as much. But so mixed use, I think this is consistent with the zoning of this area moving forward. And it is also, there's also some GC here as well right now. And so this building directly in the center with the leasing sign on it, and I just pulled this off Google Maps, there's no longer a leasing sign on there. But this is the building that we'd be converting into a beauty salon. As you can see, it's got its own dedicated parking area in front of it. But one concern raised by the engineering department when we just kind of initially presented this rezoning to them was that there may not be enough parking and access for a GC. So as Deals and Steals owns the entire parcel, our plan is to go in and do some sort of cross-access and parking easement. So the parking in front of this building as well as the parking on the parcel next door, there'd be easements allowing parking on both. And so you'd have access and parking on both parcels, which should satisfy those requirements. And so, as I mentioned before, this gives you an idea of the replat that we're planning to do. And so you see our tract, which is the 0.1137 acres there, and that building would be used for the hair salon. And there's also a building kind of running perpendicular to that behind there that's currently, I think, being used as office space. So with respect to the development itself, the hours of operation for the development are right now at least, are supposed to be 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Tuesday through Friday, and then 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturdays. The tenant intends to employ approximately 4 hairstylists, an esthetician, and a massage therapist on site. And then just kind of a general point, general commercial, if you want to think about it in terms of steps up, is sort of a step down from LMI, because some of the uses available under LMI can be a little more disruptive than what you might be allowed to do, under GC. As the planning department's report noted, there's no real traffic concerns with this development. There's no, it's already serviced by all public facilities. There won't be any additional work required of the city at that point. The development will have a positive economic impact in that it will create jobs and it'll increase traffic along 10th Avenue, where there's a lot of, vacant buildings, at least at this point. So, in conclusion, we think this rezoning is appropriate for this area, and that the rezoning and the GC kind of is probably the future of 10th Avenue, at least along this area. And so we'd hope that you would approve the rezoning, and I'm happy to answer any questions you all may have.
Any questions from commissioners? Yes, Mr. Baker.
I noticed that it at least appears that the current building is a portable building. Is that accurate? Or is that a stick-built building? I may have been looking at that wrong. My question is, y'all intend to use the existing building?
Yes, with some renovations, I believe.
Okay.
Is that correct? Correct me if I'm wrong, please. Yes.
Or any other questions? All right, would a commissioner like to make a motion? Yes, okay. Would you like to? Okay, Ms. Brown.
I make a motion regarding case REZN 02220339, a request to rezone .11 acres of land located at 1118 10th Avenue. Current zoning is light manufacturing industrial. Proposed zoning is general commercial. The proposed use is commercial retail, and Deals and Steels Outlet Incorporated is the applicant. And I move that we approve this request. It's compatible with existing land uses.
All right, yeah, have I got a second? Yes, ma'am. All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand. All right, it's unanimous, it passes. Thank you.
Thank you. And I do have to say, as a veteran of trying to bring a gas station before you all, I commiserate with the guys earlier.
All right, we got any other business to discuss? Yeah, would a commissioner like to make a motion to adjourn? All right, second? Okay, we're adjourned.